What's up, family? It's your boy, Brother Gray, back again to do this thing. Got to lay this brick. It's been a minute. Had to go away for a little while, take care of family business. But we're back. I'm back doing this thing, laying this brick that we need to lay for the Most High. You know, we got to spread this word. We got to do the right things. But we're still talking about political stuff. We're still talking about the political landscape that we live in today. Still dealing with it. And for those of you out there who think that you can just sit back and not deal with it because it's somebody else's problem now. Now it's the brothers and sisters, the Hispanic brothers and sisters, that's their problem. And I get that. I totally understand why that's a thing. My glasses are dirty, guys. Sorry. I understand that sometimes we're not, they're not giving us a lot of play back. You know what I'm saying? We always get criticized for always trying to bring other races into our fight. And I get it. I understand why some of us get a little twisted around the axle about it. Because it's not reciprocated. But let's make sure that we're doing it in the context of the Bible, because, you know, even the dominant society, even they are part of our prophecies. They're part of our journey. And they need to be talked about, whatever it is. So we can't just decide that we're going to be isolationist and we only worry about Jake. There's other tribes that we need to deal with, that we need to talk to. And if they don't listen, they don't listen. And they got to deal with that when the Most High comes back, when Yahweh Shai comes back to do what he needs to do. So we still got to address it. But in any case, we got to talk about this political climate. We got to talk about what these people are doing. We got to talk about it in a way that helps us get back on code with the Most High, get back on code with each other and with the Most High. But we have to recognize that we do have some people in our society, in our culture, in our family, that they don't see the dominant society as a problem. Matter of fact, they buy into the problem. Can't afford to buy into the problem. You can't afford to allow them to teach us spiritual matters, not even really civic matters, because even with civic matters of the judiciary, matters of finance, these people cannot be trusted. Like I've said in other videos, they have totally mishandled the scriptures, totally mishandled history, totally mishandled us. So we can't allow this to continue to happen just to get along. We can't just go along to get along, as they say. We can't do it anymore. So we have to talk real business. And so we have to identify. Now, I'm going to say this is going to be very controversial amongst the Israelite community for a lot of us, that the dominant society, and we know what name they are. We know what we named them. We know what they are in the Bible. That the dominant society can never tell us the truth. Never trust the enemy. The Bible says you never should trust your enemy. I believe that. But we have to use our spirit of discernment when dealing with the dominant society, because until such times we are in our own kingdom, we're still going to have to deal with these people. Now, that doesn't mean lay down on your back and let them stomp on us, because that ain't going to happen. We're not professional victims. That turn the other cheek nonsense doesn't work. So what we have to do is we have to identify who the enemy is. And a lot of us in this community, a lot of us in our so-called African-American society, they just don't see it. But the Bible talks about it. The Bible talks about how do we identify those people who are our enemies. Now, can we trust them in all matters? Absolutely not. We should never trust them in all matters. But sometimes what makes it difficult is sometimes they tell the truth. What did I say in another video or another post? That the best liars are the ones that mix a little bit of truth in it. That's what's going on. But with the power of the scriptures, with the power of your brotherhood, with the power of discernment that you pray that the Most High God will give you, then you'll be able to, separate the wheat from the tares, per se. So, how do we identify the enemy? How do we identify those who are against us? The blatant ones. The secret ones, you got to have a little discernment, but the blatant ones. And they're blatant out there right now. These people in this administration and the people with the MAGA hats and all these other, they're very blatant with that. Go to my TikTok. If you saw it, 144,000, chosen 144,000, you'll see they're very blatant with it. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. What's happening is they've gotten sick of just being guilted. They're sick of feeling guilty. Well, we're sick of being persecuted. And we're ready for the Most High to come back. Excuse me, I keep saying that. We're getting ready for the Yahushua to come back. I debate a lot of people about that Jesus is God thing. That's why it's on my brain. But we're waiting for Yahushua to come back, the Hamashiach to come back and save us. But let's identify who our enemies are for those who just haven't gotten it yet. It's in the scriptures. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Psalms. We're going to go to Psalms 83 and 1, right? And we're going to start here. This is how we begin to identify who our enemies are. And it should be so clear after I do this. But of course, we're stiff-necked, hard-headed, whatever you want to call it. So Psalms 83, verse 1, a song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. Verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult. A tumult is like a noise. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Let me read that clean. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. That's what's happening now. These people don't love God. They can't stand God. And they're lifting up their heads, right? They're making a tumult. January 6th. These neo-Nazis marching around with their little flags all out in the broad daylight. They make a tumult because they do not love God. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Crafty counsel. They're passing laws, getting rid of DEI, whatever that means. Now, DEI, I'm not too keen on DEI per se, because there are some things that they've attributed to DEI that aren't part of what we do. But this is all a war against the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Thy hidden ones are your kids, the kids that aren't even here yet. All right. This is what they're doing now. They've taken crafty counsel against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now, I want you guys to understand something as we continue to move through these scriptures. What have they done over the past, month or so, even a couple of years or so, where they're trying to get rid of what? Black history. Where they've changed the idea of what? What do they call it? They call it being woke, critical race theory, where they're trying to ban and get rid of anything that makes us understand who we are. They've turned the Israelites into a hate group, that we are not supposed to be out here teaching the law, statutes, and commandments to our own people. They don't even want us teaching our own people about the book, about the Bible. That's crazy talk to them, that we think that we are a part of the Bible. They want to cut us off from being a nation. They don't want us to know this truth. That's why they've designated Hebrew Israelites as a hate group, which is crazy. Hate groups are violent. We're not violent. Hate groups might talk violently, but we don't advocate violence. You know who's violent? White supremacists. You cannot extricate violence from white supremacy, because that's how they get down. So don't ever, you guys talk so loud and you guys are mean, and that's black racism. There would be no black racism without white racism. The seed of any kind of so-called black racism is white racism. We're not about that. We call it like it is. You've done what you've done, just like you call us out when we do what we do. All right? Let's go back to the scriptures. It says here, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They don't ever want us to remember who we are in the scriptures. They never want us to remember. Let's move to the next one. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent, and they are what? Confederate against thee. If you think that's a mistake or just coincidental, you're on crack cocaine. Straight up. They have consulted together with one consent, and they are confederate against thee. What group of people run around with a Confederate flag? The Confederate States, the Confederate battle flag, all of that stuff. Confederate, that's prophecy in the Bible about us. That has everything to do with us. Psalms 83 and 5, Confederate against us. Look at that. That cannot be a coincidence, man. And so it's easy to recognize who that is. It's easy to recognize who that is. So there is no conversing with some of these people. There's you can't negotiate with them. Because now we know who's Confederate against us. That's not by accident. There's nothing redeeming about the people that are in that movement. There's nothing redeeming about a bunch of people who will look down their noses at us and try to take away our history. There's nothing redeeming about somebody who steals your identity. There's nothing redeeming about somebody who would tell you that you can't teach your history to your kids. There's nothing redeeming about a person or a group of people that call you bywords. There's nothing about redeeming about a group of people who would change the character, the image, and the mission of your Savior, of your God, and whitewash a message that's really just for us. If you don't know who your enemy is in the scriptures, then you're not doing the Most High justice. You're not working. And if you're not trying to tell our brothers and sisters to keep their head on a swivel, follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, study some, pay attention to what's going on, then it's going to be required of you. Believe it or not, we are in the last days. We are in the last days. And I know people will say, oh, they've been saying that for centuries, but we are. We're in the last days. So we should very much understand that this place is going to fall. It ain't going to be by us because we have no might in our hands, and we don't advocate violence as a group of people anyway. If you're out there trying to be violent amongst these people, you are the R word. Stop it. Knock it off. Don't go to jail for these people. We're supposed to live peaceably amongst all people for the most part. So that's what we do. But you need to get your mind in the game. Follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. With that being said, I want to give all praises to the Most High God Yahweh, and we do so in the name of Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. We'll see you on the flip side, and Shalom.